Hi. In this video, we're going to be looking at how to get your microbit chip to work as a thermometer. So we're going to measure the temperature, and we're going to display what that temperature is on the face of the microbit chip. Now, measuring the temperature is actually way easier than you think it is, because this chip has available on it an onboard temperature measurer. So it automatically knows what the temperature is. It's got a little input device. So we don't need to worry about that too much. We need to think about how we want it to display. So a simple one would be to use the input on button A pressed. So we can take those two blocks away. When we press button A, we want the temperature to display. So under basic, we can show numbers, we can show LEDs, icons, strings, and things like that. And temperature is a number. So we can use show number and then show what the temperature is. And to get that temperature, it's part of the input. Remember, it's got a little measuring device which measures the temperature. So it's part of input, things that go into the computer system. And if you go down, you can see there's light level, to read a light level, a compass heading, and temperature. So if we drop that in there, when we press button A, it'll show whatever the temperature reading is. So I press button A, and you'll notice it says 21 degrees, and it flashes 21 on the screen. This little emulator is in your computer. It doesn't actually have a measuring device, so it will always show 21 degrees. But when you've got an actual chip, it will read the actual temperature fairly closely. So this is one way of doing it, but there's always different ways of doing things. And one thing you can do is to make this more useful later on is to use variables. So if you think about in mathematics, a variable is something like x plus 2, x, whatever that is, you add 2. And it's called a variable because it can vary. What it is can vary. It could be 3, it could be 5, it could be 7 million. We don't know what it is. We just store a value in there. So I could go down to where it says variables here. If you don't see that, you need to click on advanced to get to variables. And you click on make a variable. And let me call it temp. So temp for temperature. We'll keep it descriptive. And what I could do is on button A, we could set the temperature to, and then do that reading. Okay, so when you press button A, it measures the temperature and sets it to that temperature variable. And then what it shows would be that temperature variable. So you set variable temp to whatever the temperature is, and then you show that number. You show that variable. Now you might be thinking, that's 2 lines instead of 1 line of code. Why did I add an extra block? Well, one of the reasons could be that I just want to use that later on. So if I just press button A, it shows the temperature, fine. But what if I want to use that information in another way later? For example, I could be making a thermostat. So when the temperature goes above a certain level, if the temperature is higher than 21, say, then it will turn a switch to turn off the heater. So you can heat water to 21 degrees and then just leave it there, or whatever it is. And having that variable for temperature then becomes very useful. So for this little program, we could have done it either way, but later on, it becomes much, much better if you use variables. So it's quite a good idea to get into that habit. Setting a variable, inputting the number value, whatever it is, into that variable, and then showing that number. Hope this makes sense.